In episode 5, I gave you a scene from the book to apply some of the work we've done so far. As we continue to move forward on the channel, the more scenes and the more material you have to apply the tools to, the better. Hey Bub, you know how you're always asking me to write you new material? I think if you'll just take a little time and read through all the scenes in the book, you're going to find some great stuff. Yeah, there are 318 characters to choose from, Bub. That's a lot of characters. This is Acting as an Art Form, take 6. Acting requires work in both the conscious mind and the unconscious mind when you're on your feet working with other actors or with an actor and a director. And while lectures I'm doing here on the channel are great to introduce new concepts, philosophies, and tools, they will sink in much faster if you're actively working on a role that you can apply those tools to. Now you can pick any character you want from any source to work on, but as I mentioned to the bub back there are 318 characters in the book to choose from that have all been workshopped in my class. I've had actors on their feet with all these scenes, and we've been able to reach a pretty high performance level. So take a look in the book, find some characters you want to work with, and then let's start applying the tools. There's always a link to the book below, and I can guarantee no matter what your age, sex, demographic, social background, or range, there will be many, many characters that will fit your artistic sensibilities, and you're going to be able to choose from a diverse group of worlds that you can play those characters in. So get the book on Amazon, pick out some roles that you really want to work on, and as I introduce these tools, we can get you up on your feet, and these tools are going to sink in much, much quicker if you actively get up, work in the unconscious mind, and then come back, watch some of the videos, and work more in the conscious mind. We also call this work in the conscious mind table work because oftentimes you're going to be scoring your script and taking notes as you do the individual takes and then review them on your phone. So we have a special offer here for the next week or the next 7 days. If you buy a book and then email me, I'm going to be giving away 5 free Zoom calls, and we're going to work together on the character that you pick from the book. Now remember, the first 5 people that email me and show me that they have the book, those are the people that I'm going to work with on the Zoom calls. I talked about the flow state in the very first introductory episode, so let's break down our process a little more and see what it might take for us to reach this magical flow state with some of these scenes you're going to be working on from the book. Now, once you have a scene, a character, and a world picked out, I suggest starting with the workflow template that I went over in episode 2. And even if you don't fill in long answers to all of the tools we're going to use on the workflow template, just reviewing them, going over them, and using your imagination to start to delve into the world will really help you inform your character. After filling out that workflow template, let's take a look back in the book and see some of the things I wrote in chapter 1 that I also suggest doing once you've filled out that template. There's a long list of things you can do after the workflow template to help you inform your character, and that list is found right at the beginning of chapter 1. So let's take a look. Pick a genre and a tone that best suits the world you'll be creating. Okay, genre and tone is kind of what it sounds like. A genre is a comedy, a dark comedy, a mystery, a thriller. I have a list in the book of actually 26 different genres for you to choose from. By picking a genre, you can help better set the tone for your scene. When I talk about tone, I like to use musical analogies. Is this scene better suited if jazz were playing, or blues, or rap, or hardcore rock and roll? What does it feel like? What's the air in the room or the communion? Many times, if you just pick a tone, it's really going to help you set that communion off the top of the scene. All right, let's see what else we have. Find an acting partner to work with and read the scenes many, many times as you start to learn the dialogue. All right, that's always going to be useful. If you don't have an acting partner, you can get the apps, record the other characters' lines, and have those lines read back to you as you go through your scene and continue to work on your character. And then it's even a good idea after you've done a lot of work and reached a high performance level to shoot your scene and then review and then try to add some self-direction to that scene. Let's see what's next. Create a timeline for your characters so we can see where the scene takes place in the overall telling of the story. Again, we went over timelines in a previous episode, so go ahead and go back and review what it takes to create a timeline. Find prior circumstances and an inciting incident, and then decide on future circumstances for your character. Okay, prior circumstances are anything that happened immediately before the scene takes place, and you can roll prior circumstances in your timeline all the way back to a week, a month, a year, or a couple days, whatever you think is going to be relevant. And then we have an inciting incident, and that is the thing that took place before the scene, from which point forward the characters knew that they were going to be involved in this particular scene. What I mean by that is, in real life, when you get into an emotional situation with another person, there's almost always something that happens right before that. From that point forward, you know that this meeting is going to take place. I'll do another episode on inciting incident because I think that can be an episode of its own. Now, future circumstances are taking the timeline and rolling it out forward from the end point of the scene so that you, the actor, can get an idea what might happen to your character down the line. That will help to give you a reference point for the scene you're playing from the book. The 3 C's: clarity and consistency of character. Now, you have heard me mention clarity and consistency of character many times. I'm going to continue to mention that tool because it is one of the most important things, and it keeps realism in our stories and in our performance. What you're going to do is look at your takes and then make sure that nothing in your prior circumstances or your future circumstances, or if in the case that you have a whole script, nothing that you're doing in the scene conflicts or contradicts some of the things the character is going to do later in the movie. I see this in films a lot, where I'll see an actor play a scene and then something down the line in the movie totally doesn't make sense for what they did previously. Now, oftentimes that happens because movies are not shot in a linear order and the actor didn't have the training or a system or a workflow in order to keep his performances consistent, and the director just didn't see it. Directors have a lot to do. They're trying to shoot an entire movie or an entire television episode and keep track of all the characters and all of the reference points for all of the storylines. So it's better if the actor does it themselves. Identify specific dialogue or description in the script. Now, if there's something specifically mentioned in the script that is going to be a story point or is going to help the characters tell the audience what's going to happen, you need to inform that specific dialogue. I have a lot of examples in the book of specific dialogue that are in the scenes, and you can look at those to get a better feel for what this actually means. Decide if the scene needs a physical entrance and exit, or both, by either of the characters or by both the characters. Okay, an entrance is when a character actually walks in the room, or 2 characters walk in the room, or a character or 2 characters walk into a shot if it's an exterior. And entrances and exits used to be done all the time in filmmaking. Nowadays they're not done as often, but still you will see many scenes that begin with a character walking in a room. If you have a character that's going to walk in a room, we need to get extremely specific about what that walk looks like. Not just the pace, but your body language, your communion, your eye line to the other character. All of these things are going to help the audience determine what's about to happen in that scene. Find and mark the major and minor beats in the scene and inform those beats. Beats are pauses, or beats are transitions in the character's thoughts. They may reflect inward, they may turn away from the other character, they may break the communion. It's a slight hesitation. And this is one of those words that you will hear defined by all different kinds of people in the industry in a different way. But for the purposes of our book and our system, a beat is a hesitation or a break in the communion for the actor to take 1 second before they give their next line. Imagine a location where the scene takes place, or actually find a location to shoot the scene. Imagining a location will help the actor so much to envision what they're going to be going through. We actually do this exercise in class when I have actors in person, and I will have them go on their phones, search through images on Google, and show me what they think the location for the scene should look like. Again, one of the things we talked about earlier is tone, and this will help you set a tone for your scene. Let's say the scene takes place in a hotel room. Well, a Motel 6 is definitely much different feeling than a suite at the Mirage in Vegas. So they're both hotel rooms, but they feel very differently. Pick a specific wardrobe. Okay, for wardrobe, I suggest the more cliched, the better. For instance, if you're going to play a cop, well then find a cop uniform and rent it, or at least dress like a detective that you see in all the procedural episodic television shows, and let's help the audience visually to determine what your character is about as they go through the journey of that scene. Decide on props for the scene and master their use. Okay, a prop, one single prop can go a long way in suggesting what your character is all about. And then I said to practice their use, because you don't want to be mastering your physicality once the camera's rolling or once you reach a really high performance level. You want the muscle memory of that prop to be in your body when you're involved in the scene and when you're in communion with the other actors, so we can bring as much realism to your character as possible. A lot of times I will give actors direction on how to manipulate the prop, and then I'll turn the cameras off so we can practice that before I shoot, because I find as soon as an actor's mind's eye goes to the prop, they're out of communion with the other character. Pick a prop, master the prop. Finally, shoot your scene. Now, for shooting your scene, if you're going to be using it for your reel and you're going to actually produce it, go out, find an exterior for the scene, or pick a room or a friend's house or rent a hotel room or find an actual location that fits, and then you can go ahead and produce this scene for your reel. Nowadays, there are so many people with cameras and microphones and so many creators that are wanting to expand themselves. It's really easy to find a cameraman to help you shoot your scene. And in this way, you can start to actually build a reel so that if you want to submit to get roles in Hollywood or you want to do any kind of work as a professional actor, you can give the decision maker something to see that shows your ability to execute. And precision execution is how actors build a career. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. I'm going to talk to the bub back there and help him pick out some more scenes, and hopefully you'll see him in the future. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I say this every episode, leave me comments on what you want to see in future episodes. Thanks again for watching.